Okay. So tell me, like, what are you charging for that?
197. It was 249 before a day, or 197 and then 249, but we decided we're just going to keep the early bird price going.
Okay.
And Carrie and I created this, 6 months ago.
Okay.
Now we're finally putting it out there, and you should see this, Kaylee. She's taking it out and getting it onto Facebook World and everything. I know you saw the testimonial, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw that you liked it or you shared it. Now we're doing it the professional way that it needs to be done, because Kaylee's set up in the way that she needs to be set up, and we're just ready to go, Elijah.
Awesome.
Well, I am so ready to go. So, and then what I'd like to do, so tonight in my conversation, because Carrie doesn't know as much about the new paradigm stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let her talk more about Dare to Be You, but I want to talk about the way I've run my business for 27 years that I'm now out of, and how we used values cards and convo killer cards. And I'm going to have them with me so I can just go like this and show them. For example, when you're on a shared system and someone gets caught in interruption, and I'll tell my story, how I'm the one that got caught with interruption. So that'll be kind of fun. Right here, look at, I pulled it up. Oh my God.
Wait, is this a radio show or a visual show?
It's a Facebook show, and it's called Squirrel Network. Okay. Anybody can listen to it, Elijah.
Okay, well, send me the link or the.
Okay, I'll get their Facebook, and then I will send it to you so you can ask to be friended. Okay.
Okay, yeah, because I'll pop it through my networks and stuff.
Yeah, Squirrel Network.
And it's what, tonight at what time?
It's tonight at 7, our time. Oh, I guess I can invite you. Just wait, invite. I didn't even know I could do this. Okay, I just invited you.
Okay.
They've got 525 members so far. They're so excited to have Carrie and I on because we're local. Yeah, it's quite good. But Wendy Nesseth was on. Remember Wendy that was at one of our, she was the yoga studio upstairs. She was at our first Hub Factor, or one of our first, she was a guest one night. Body Talk lady. And she had a neuroscientist was supposed to be on last week, but something happened, he had to cancel. So her name is Tamela Apple. You'll see.
Did you
and they advertised Carrie and I being speakers. I'm going to look for that again, just so that you've got it. Squirrel Network. They did a really nice thing about Carrie and I with bios and everything.
Okay. So that they're heading
oh, I can't send it. Oh, there we go. Okay. No, it won't let me send it. Look at us.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Isn't it beautiful? And then it has our bios and everything on it. Oh. Like, holy cow. That's tonight. And you know how we got on there?
How's that?
Sheila Hintz, my friend Sheila Hintz. She is, she wrote us a beautiful testimonial, but she's the one that went to them and said, would you consider sending Laurie Renton an invite to come on your show? Because I think it'd be great. Well, they were thrilled because they never even thought of me. So then I asked Carrie to join me with Dare to Be You.
Well, that's how it works, right? The network expanding.
That's it. You know what? When you connect, like we made a list of about 50 people. Kaylee and I and Sylvia just made a list of about 50 people to invite to the hub. Kaylee did up a sample letter to send out to people, inviting them and organizations. And then we started a business list too, to see if we can get some people within business to start coming to get a feel of what it's all about.
Oh, nice. Is that to one event or to the Hub Factor, or which?
That's to the Hub Factor to start with.
Oh, good.
Because that's our freebie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then once they get here, you know what's happened to the last 2 Hub Factors is we've had, say, 2 or 3 people. So it gives us more time, right? Because you're not going through a bunch. And we'll say, if you got, one was a nurse from the hospital, and she goes, the environment at the hospital is so toxic. And I said, get a few people that are more positive, get them to come, because then maybe you guys can weed out the negativity. anyway, she said it was the most amazing thing, and she goes, her husband would love it. So she's going to come. So one of our former hub people brought a guest.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's starting to get, it's going to get going.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Did you record it?
So anyway, we didn't record it. No, we should have. But so here's what we did, Elijah, because there was less people, we got them to change their spot on the table with their same question.
Okay.
To see what came up.
Okay, that's
that
good.
was powerful.
Adaption.
Yeah, twice now we've done that because of the lesser people. We thought, well, then we can take the time to do it twice with them.
Okay. I'm just thinking, like,
but we're starting to
just to leverage the fact that it's your freebie and it's your entry into the system. It's essentially like a podcast every week that you could start putting on your Visionary Hub, and it's just another thing to show people, and then people are sort of, if they know it's getting broadcast, then it's becomes a little bit more of a thing, right? So that's just
and
the
I
thought.
guess it depends what it is. You know, sometimes it's a question about the relationship, right, with their partners, so they maybe don't want that on there.
I think if you set it up right, like saying like this is sort of open, transparent before everything comes out, then they'll ask a question that they feel comfortable with and are okay with, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think most people, when they're asked, they like it, they prefer it, they want it to be broadcast, you know.
Yeah.
So
people want to feel important, don't they?
Yeah, significance. So just in terms of protocol again, if you can, it's fairly simple to go from the phone into Anchor, and then from from Anchor into your Visionary Hub Facebook group, or any of your other things you've got going. So I would suggest again to do that, because I think it's the media side of what you're doing is going to be important in the long run, and just learning how to take and just knowing how to take a table and being able to podcast that is you know, it's a skill.
We're going to call it the Hub Podcast. We talked about that today, Kaylee and I and Sylvia.
Yeah.
The Hub Podcast.
So I mean, if it's just a matter, I can walk you through how you do it when you want to do it, but you essentially have to put someone's phone in the middle of the table, and then remember to press stop when it finishes.
Okay.
And then if someone needs a walkthrough to do the whole process, I'll do that with them.
Okay. I think if it's going to be, we'll get Kaylee to do that.
Okay.
Because she's our youth. We had a chat this today, her and I and Sylvia, because she said she chatted with you just about, you know, some insight as a young person looking at the big picture. And she made a comment that she thinks everybody should specialize in one map. And Sylvia goes, I totally disagree, because the inner you, outer you, inner group, outer group is one person. So how would one person do the inner you, get to know you, and then shuffle you over? Imagine going to a doctor, Kaylee, and you have to go to this doctor, you have to go to that doctor, you have to go to that doctor, you have to go to that doctor. How does somebody really get to know you?
Well, I don't know. There's a part of me that likes it. Like you, let's say if you specialize in the synergy map, it doesn't mean all of you can't do all of the maps. It just means what you're specializing in. And if you're like, for you, you'd be specializing in organizations. You'd be specializing more in the synergy map. And because you've used it and you use it for your own business, you know, you could look at the 100 organizations in Yorkton, and you could do a values map with each of them, right? Like it could be the thing to do, right?
I see what you mean. Okay.
Sit down with Laurie.
That makes sense.
And then Kaylee says she wants to do the flow map. And, you know, I think that type of focus could really as an entry point. And then when you make a process, so let's say someone comes in now, you're seeing the specialist in each of the maps. And it's not really a matter of getting to know the person. It's a matter of getting the most bang for your buck. And that like if you did a flow map with Kaylee, then you did a synergy map with you. Now you're getting to know everyone in the Visionary Hub too. And then you can do sort of like larger groups of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, when I did my discovery process, I used only 3 cards from the flow map, because it's a behavior. To me, when it comes to working with people around money,
Right.
A lot of it is their behavior. And then that makes them aware that, oh my gosh, that is what I do. I only use the 852 card because I just make it a simple process to get them excited about it.
Right.
So you've got the resource of money, you've got the product or the service you're going to use to get there, and then you've got the 8 that says, what's the big picture and what are my goals and what am I going to do to get there?
Right. Well,
And
and
it
you
worked
could,
well. And that's what Kaylee talked about too.
okay. Because
Yeah.
you could, I mean, obviously you could do like level 2s or module 2s or whatever's, and then you could add the next 3 in
Yeah.
and the next 3 in if you wanted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. We could create modules that people could go through. Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, I know we're all doing a mastermind. All of us, like I said, just go on your own, do your whatever you think you want to bring to the table. Kaylee took us through a process that she's working with as an intern for some big guru. And then we're just going to start building from there so that we see where we want to be.
Is that the
in the hub.
Facebook group to the 9-day free coaching and then the coaching programs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I think so, eh?
Yeah. No, because
Yeah,
I
she
think,
gave us that rundown and it was good.
no, I think that's good.
I had to get a little bit stern with my personality because it's like, Kaylee, to me, see this circle? We're all equal around the table. There's no hierarchy here. And it's like, if you guys think, because she's a 20-year-old and this is the way you need to be with her, then you're not in the right place.
Well, I heard you and Kirsty had a bit of a chat.
Oh, I had to have a chat with her because it's like this with Kaylee. And I said, are you freaking kidding me? This is not a restaurant where you ran 40 staff of 20-year-olds that you had to be like this.
Yeah.
But then, you know what, I found out, she let me know that she partners in their business. They voted her out because they didn't like her leadership style. She was awful with the people. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I guess we'll see.
Well, I mean, it sounds like she got a lot of feedback in the last week.
Yeah.
So it was probably,
It had to happen, Elijah. Like, and then she goes, because I got feedback from people I know that are invited here, and they're going, we feel like we're just getting cut off. She's answering all our stuff. She's just like this. And Laurie, if that continues, we're not coming. And that person hasn't been here for the last 3 times. And Dr. Node Smith, the naturopathic doctor, he felt it, the pastor felt it. So then I was truthful with her and I told her, and she comes back at me and she says, well, that's okay. Somebody talked to me and why are you running the show? And I go, you know what? Number 1, I'm the only one that pays rent here. Number 2, this has been in my brain for the last 15 years of my life. And number 3, everything that's in this space, like you came in like a month ago. I'm going like, are you kidding me? So Sylvia and I had a chat with our lawyer because we have a corporation set up and we were just going to bring them all on equal, Carrie and Christy. So it's like, he goes, why would you guys do that? You got this going, you got this started, you pay to incorporate it. Why don't you bring them in as allies, or what is it called?
Customers, allies, or members.
Exactly. So that's what Sylvia and I have to figure out. And we're thinking her and I would like to have a joint call with you.
Okay.
Because maybe we're just rushing in and just letting just anybody step in when we've got to step back and go. Because now I'm meeting with a guy he's running a rehabilitation center. I'm meeting with him tomorrow morning. And he's been asked to do work with a private one out of Manitoba. And I have a feeling there's some work we're going to be doing with them. And as soon as I said that on our group call, Elijah, Christy goes, well, you got to make sure, blah, blah, blah. You got to make sure. And it does that and make sure all of us know about it. And how I said, number 1, how do you know it has anything to do with the hub? I'm meeting with him because I sold my business to him 5 years ago and he's got a good thing happening. And I want to find out what's happening with him. So I'm struggling a little bit with that. Like, I'm 61 now. I'm ready to go. I don't need to be held back.
Yes.
So if Sylvia and I can have a meeting with you, then we'll sit down and we'll really look at the customers, the allies, and the members or the tribe. And let's really define that, because we've written down 50 people's names that we know would be gentle, beautiful souls coming into this.
Right. Not
someone that's fairly unhealthy in their personality and being a dominant 8 personality.
Right.
Like, and then the way that Kaylee was treated really bothered me, Elijah. And
Right.
Kaylee was ready. Her dad said to her he would lend her money to invest in this. So, as far as I'm concerned, she could come in as a junior, like very junior, to be at the ground level, because the only ones that have built a synergy map is me, Kaylee, and Sylvia. We built that synergy map together. So the value of trust, the value of integrity, that's all important.
Right. Well,
So,
I might have, I think, because let's say I was putting forth the 4 team,
yeah,
I might have accelerated things or sort of
yeah,
made it more even as a result of that, which didn't have the timing involved of the other 2 or the new person to go through that probation. Because remember, the members go through like a 9-month probation.
right.
Right? Like
So,
each one has a different kind of time span, but the members are the ones who have the longest, where you're going potential probation to active. So they don't really, that's what stops that, what you're going through in a sense. And I think,
could we do that?
what's that?
Could we do something like that, Elijah, and go, and then maybe, and we can just use all of that kind of as a theory to say, this is what it needs to go through. Sylvia and I will do the presentation. It's like, we just had a conversation, Sylvia and I, we would like Kaylee to buy into the hub.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, we would like her to be a junior. Yeah, she's got 2 more years of school. So what?
Right.
She's just not going to see a lot of profit initially, right? Because she'll be putting in a little bit.
Right.
But she's a girl that's put herself out there, and she understands the stuff, Elijah.
Yeah. No, and she's got the, no, I thought, like, when I had a chat with her, I just wanted to sort of make sure I understood it more from her point of view, right? And
That's perfect.
because remember, I told you, I thought that because she was so close in the beginning, that when the other 2 people came in, that would have quite an effect, which I think it did, right?
Well, it had a major effect. And the one lady that said she felt like she was cut off and everything like that, she's the one that said, I feel you guys are like this bow and arrow, but you're holding it because you don't know the bullseye. You haven't really determined concretely what the bullseye is.
Right.
And she kind of got cut off. And she said to me when we went for lunch, she says, are you okay if I share it? And I go, of course, I'm open, man. She goes, why did you turn a triangle into a square? She couldn't figure out why we turned a triangle into a square, and it turned into 4 people in equal parts like that.
Well, did you tell her about the format of
Yeah, I explained that to her, and I said that's what kind of brought that in, is because of the form map. I said, but she goes, well, I don't know, it just felt different when that happened.
For sure. I mean, the thing is, like, every number you're using for people sets the configuration of the parts to itself, right? And so you've basically gone from a 3 to a 4 to a 5, because now you're at a 5. And so I think that, you'll see that because it hasn't happened before, but if you're really looking to build to go into the 144, I was seeing you now as a 9.
Yeah.
That you were at the 9, Kaylee was now at the 8, and Christy was at the 4.
Yeah.
And Sylvie was like at the 2.
Yeah.
So from that 9 point of view, now you're kind of like branching out, and there's probably there's tension between Kaylee at the 8, who's looking more marketing, right? I mean, she just basically set up that marketing program to bring people in. So that's marketing.
Yeah.
And so Christy's probably feeling, there's this dynamic between those 2 about where's my right place and what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And if Christy, you said she was asked to be left from some other
partnership. Yeah, she said the only one that defended her was her husband. And she cried. There's no doubt she cried about it. And I said, well, I didn't know that. But what have you learned through this? If this has happened, she got let go from Hilberg and Burke, which is the earring sparkle lady from Regina. She got let go from there. I said, so what are you learning from all this stuff, Christy? Like, that's the thing. it's not like you don't have great gifts to offer, but what are you learning through this? And then when it's like, here's some observations from people I want to share with you, instead of absorbing it and going, oh my gosh, I didn't do that. And she goes, I kept quiet today. You were the one that butted in all the time. That's how she responded to me. So it's almost like a inner child issue.
Right.
And you know what, Elijah, I don't want to babysit. I made that decision. I'm ready to go forward with this stuff.
Right. How old is she?
36.
Okay. So
Yeah.
she's still pretty young, and she's
Yeah.
she's strong. Like the thing is, she's strong.
Oh, she's an 8 personality. They're very
And I
strong.
think like in a certain situation, she would just shine. And I think she's everyone wants to assert themselves to sort of prove them, right? Like she was going on her
Yeah.
own, and then she really wanted to jump in with you ladies, obviously for some reason, right? That she felt a connection.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of, I think I wouldn't say call it babysitting, but I think no matter what, you're gonna be coaching a lot of people. And I'm not so sure you can look at it as being, I need to babysit.
Yeah.
You're like the mother hen, and you're the one who's creating the harmony in a sense, right?
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Bring the harmony as the mama hen. As I
you're
just called
helping people
myself the
find the
elder.
right place.
Yeah.
And
Because you're right.
sorry?
She'll shine when she finds her spot.
For sure. And you're saying that she was questioning like why you're the leader or what, like what?
Yeah,
Like,
she said, can I share with you what someone said about you? And I go, well, of course you can. I want you to share with me. She goes, well, they're wondering why you still think you're the leader here. Kind of, because I am. Like, so it's a little, I don't know.
Well, no, but you know what? It's almost like you said, okay, we're sitting at a table here and we have no hierarchy.
Yeah.
And then you have, okay, you got 4 people and we're equal, but you're not equal. I mean, you're equal. You can say you're equal 25%, but each of you has different skill sets, and you've been around, you've run a successful business.
Right.
You've run a successful business for over 25 years, which means you know how to run a business, which means, plus again, you're building, your connection to me, you've got the connection to the whole idea.
Yeah.
And I think if she doesn't understand that yet in relationship to, what's going on, like if she's listening to someone else who's like, who's on the outside, who has no idea about what's going on, it just means a bit of, I think, maturing in terms of understanding, what it took for you to get where you are.
Right. Maybe that's it.
And you're a very humble person, right? You're not lauding over others, but sometimes, like as the leader, it's just, these are all experiences and events that are going to just they are going to happen as people come in, and then no one knows quite where to fit until they get there, right? And you're like shepherds. You're going to be like shepherds along the way, kind of like helping people through the process. Because these values maps, think about it. You're getting some pretty intense coaching, and so what comes up? The shadow elements. Like she didn't want to do the session this week, and she probably knew that I would dive into whatever was going on with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And it depends. She may never have done really deep shadow work.
Yeah, and she may never have done it. That's right. And it's like, and she wants to do the Enneagram. Like when we're talking about master groups, and she goes, yeah, I want to teach the Enneagram. Well, okay, if that's what you want to teach, what are you going to go out and learn to be able to teach it, right? Like just out of the blue. I want to do Think and Grow Rich. I already have the workbook and everything that we're talking about, and she wants to do that. And I go, wow, like where's all this coming from? What can you bring to the table that's an experience that you've had in your life? So she's had depression and some mental illness problems. It would make sense to say, I want to come forward in that capacity because I want to work with other people that go through that. Like to me.
Well, I would say like her, what I've seen from her is like her ability to help someone to sort of defrag their life, put their pieces down, put the pieces back together and get them going. That sounds where she's very strong.
Yeah.
And that sounds like part of the process where, again, that action oriented.
Yeah. Kaylee's bringing me a drink.
Oh, very nice. Hey, Kaylee.
Super. Yeah, like that might be it. You're right, Elijah.
So it's like figuring out, like, again, I've sort of strayed away a bit from the weekly, design your ideal job, sort of like
Yeah.
fit in stuff. But that stuff, it should be very paramount in terms of looking at, what are the processes I'm doing by myself? What are the processes am I doing with the team?
Mhm.
What is the mark I'm doing with the team? What are all the operations I'm doing with the team?
Yeah,
But kind of like, where's the distinction between how I'm making my money and then how am I working with the others? Because
right.
you can spend so much time working with the others in a sense where it doesn't bring in the revenue kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of businesses fail, that are kind of like contract, like what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, you're learning this new stuff, you're
Yeah,
getting your stuff ready, and then you're working with each other kind of thing, where you're using
right.
the tools, which is good, but like at some point, people got to put money on the table kind of thing.
Exactly. Everybody's got to make a living. So I guess it comes down to as well, like when people come in, customers, allies, tribe, when they come in, how much time, if they do come in that capacity, what do they want to have for a time commitment and how do they want to shine through the visionary hub?
Yeah.
I think that's it. And everybody just is their independent individual selves, but they come together like that. Instead of being four founders, it's
Mm.
like, well, we can't have a meeting because the fourth one's here. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm going to go on hold for 2 weeks because Carrie's too busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I think like in the ideal situation of those four, could be like those four starting from the get-go. But again, like Carrie's in a very different position, being principal in a school, and
Right.
Chrissy's in another city. So I
Yeah.
guess the it was a little too quick, right?
Yeah. It went too quick. And, I said my trustworthy self, because I'm very high on the trust scale.
Hmm.
And I just said, let's all blossom together. I don't want to blossom alone. I want to blossom together. And Sylvia is very trustworthy too, but yet, like Christy said, well, Dr. Node Smith, he can't come in. He's got enough of his own problems. And I'm like, whoa. And it's like, are you kidding me? We want a naturopathic doctor that's willing to do this work and come. We want people like that here. I don't want to be questioned because Knight Archer or James Archer is going to be starting a wellness place for corporate wellness and addiction.
Hmm.
Like, are you kidding me? Those are opportunities galore, right? To make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
So I guess because it's been in my mind and my vision, even when I ran my old company before I even met you, I saw a new style of learning, but I didn't know what it looked like. And then all of a sudden Elijah shows up. And that's the new style of learning. So it's
Well,
hard for some people. We're in Aquarius, right? We're in the age of Aquarius,
hmm.
feminine energy,
Yeah,
and the old masculine energy, not male, female, but masculine energy was more linear, wasn't it?
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a change for everybody.
What I wanted to do with you this week a little is what I did with Sylvia very intensely. She told you about it. I want you to get a blank sheet of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be able to look at your notes or something, and just write down the flow wheel.
The flow?
Yeah. Do you have the flow wheel memorized?
No, I got the synergy wheel memorized.
Okay. Well, we're going to memorize the flow wheel today.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay.
And you can use, because you've got the synergy wheel memorized, you can use that as your reference point for going, okay, where do things fit kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, because synergy is the steward on the 9, and it's agreements.
Okay, so yeah, so there you go. So draw your synergy map, let's say
Okay.
around it, and then draw the flow map inside it.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. So steward and agreements.
Yep.
Research is the synergy.
Yeah.
Resources is the 2. The 3 is learning. The 4 is operations.
Infrastructure.
5.
You did the flow word at 2.
Oh, I did the flow word is resources, right? Because that's what I used in my discovery process. There you go, infrastructure. Okay, what's the flow word for research?
Field.
Fields, right. Okay, and then the learning in the flow is not job.
Yep.
It's job. And then operations is activities. 5 is creativity.
Yep.
Products.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah, and then the 5 in outer U flow is gifts. 6 is health.
6 the synergy.
Yep. 6 synergy is health, and then flow is, I don't remember.
What's the synergy of all of the pink hourly
Yeah.
relationships?
Oh, blah. Jeez. And then the 7 is the paths, services,
Yep.
and then paths. Right, and the paths is the flow. And then 8 is the, well, marketing or illumination or, for the synergy. And in the, what is it in the flow? It is the
flow of the flow.
flow of the flow.
It's the
There you
present
go.
moment, right? And do you know the time cycles for each one?
Yeah, okay, so that's the present moment, the 8. The daily is the 2. What's the 7?
7 is minute to minute.
Oh yeah, minute to minute, yeah. Okay, minute to minute. The 6, relationships is
We're in an hour.
hourly.
Hourly.
That's it, yeah. And then, see, I haven't worked with that a whole lot at all in the last year. So gifts, 5 is?
That's the midpoint, so that's the seasonal. So everything
yes,
to the
okay.
left is very short time, and everything to the right is long term.
Oh, okay, short term and then long term, okay. And then the 4 is?
It's daily.
Daily, that's daily, yeah. But 3?
Is lunar.
Lunar, right. And then the 2?
Is yearly.
Oh yeah, yearly. And then the field?
Lifetime.
Lifetime, yeah. And then the 9?
The 9 is timelessness.
Oh yes, planets. And then the center?
And the center is conversations.
Oh yeah. And that's kind of in everything, conversations and communications we have, right?
Yeah.
With ourselves, others, etc.
I want to show you a new prototype.
The what?
A new prototype.
Oh,
What you can do is you can
that's gorgeous.
take it out, and so you got this, but you got the, so you can
Wait, oh.
and then you got the choice wheel, kind of.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that is unbelievable.
And then you have in the center point, you got
Conversations.
conversation, and then you add the values.
Wow.
So you got like more of a physical, like I did
Right.
a values wheel with somebody, and it was just like you put the value cards on top of each thing. It just looks really nice. And this is,
Oh my goodness, that is cool.
and it's on
Holy
phone
Hannah.
board. So
When did you do that?
that over the last 2-3 weeks I've got. So I've got that for it's also the same one for the
Harmony? Is that harmony?
harmony and the synergy.
Oh, wow. So how big is that, Elijah, about when
That's
you're
2
holding
feet
it?
by 2 feet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 feet by 2
That is
feet.
beautiful.
So it printed on foam board, but then I had to cut out all the pieces. Like I did the cutting.
Did you?
So it takes a while. You need X-Acto knife, and you got to be very. But maybe it's something Kaylee could do
Right.
if she wants to do that or something. But it's
Yeah,
just
why not?
props, right?
Yeah.
Got to get the
I like that idea of printed on foam board like that. Because Sylvia and I, we were talking the other day, and we were talking about the Hub Factor map. And we go, it's vinyl. We can roll it up. We could go somewhere, but we still need a round table, right? And then remember you and I talked and said, too bad it couldn't be bigger.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about that, if we could do it on some type of heavier stuff, but have like almost like a light hinge system, so it could fold in half to be able to go into vehicles and go into, to move it if we have to move it upstairs or anywhere.
Right. I mean, if you did a 1/4 inch plywood kind of thing, did you talk to any carpenters yet about the big?
Yeah, I talked to one of my carpenters and he says, well, like, yeah, you could make something like that, but wouldn't it be too heavy? How do you transport it if you want to transport it? Because I said we have to have flexibility because it needs to be able to go upstairs. But I thought a step further was using it like kind of that board stuff that you've got right there. It would be light. It would be easy to maneuver. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I also have from the art store. I painted them all on 4-foot table, 4-foot wood,
did you?
and the wood was $150.
Yeah.
And then you have to paint it. And I also thought that could be a bit of a business for someone who get artists to paint the tables,
right?
Sell the tables.
Oh.
Or you could have artists, or you could all sit around and paint the tables. It depends on how much, because like when I was coming out, I was bringing all the tables, and then you could see,
right.
Wow, there's another 7 tables here, because we're just using one, right? That I don't even have, but I've got like 8 tables you don't have.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Sort of
so Elijah, when does it look like you're going to be able to come out here?
I don't know, like it sort of has to do with my vehicle, whether it can make it.
Yeah, because you got to drive here because you got to bring all your stuff.
Yeah. And kind of like that whole COVID checkpoint thing, like the whole thing about COVID, just kind of puts a dampener in everything, right? Like I'm a little afraid of coming out there and isolating in your building and being alone,
Yeah.
And
yeah, I don't blame you. Well, let's see what June 20th brings, because that's when the next step of changes, where we can have 150 people in big gatherings and stuff.
Okay.
We're doing a guy, he's a First Nations guy from Regina. And then my East Indian friend, he does cacao ceremonies. His name is Vino. Well, Sundance is from Regina, and I went to one of his gong baths. They have a great big gong, him and his girlfriend. They asked if we have space in the building. So they're coming on June 12th to do a day, sound therapy bath upstairs in the yoga studio.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they're just coming in for the day. And then Vino is going to do a cacao ceremony along with it.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to that because it brings kind of holistic people into the environment.
For sure. Like I think that the more events you have at the Hub Factor, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
Being the place for putting on events, right? Like it's, are there many other places in Yorkton that kind of?
No, there's none now. Melissa, a girl I know, she's a massage therapist. That's where I went to the gong bath. And now she's closed her business down. She's running with a bunch of other women as massage therapy. She's not doing any of that stuff anymore because it was too much rent.
Right.
So Sundance is a guy, when I got in there, I shook hands with him and I said, Sundance, we have a common friend. And he goes, who's that? And I said, James Archer. And he goes, he's a healer. I'm going, holy Hannah. So James Archer is connected into me in some capacity, not just me selling the business to them, but he's got bigger purpose. And then he ended up in Montreal in a rehab center for 2 months.
Oh.
So he knows what people go through with addiction, right?
For sure. Was this the guy who had the addiction center being set up?
Well, he's getting it set up down in the valley. Yeah, I'm going to see him tomorrow morning. I'm meeting with him at 9:30.
All right. So are you pitching him on anything from the Hub? Okay.
Of course. He's done a values map with Laurie years ago. She was in Regina and I said, James, can you meet her and do a values map? So he did a synergy map.
Oh, wow.
And when I sold to him, I said, what values do you have on your synergy map? He went run into his office, brought it. Him and I had 4 of the same values.
Huh.
So I knew that was the right person. but then he ended up in his addiction. So it wasn't him anymore. So it changed the dynamics, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to be doing something with him, Elijah. We'll be able to, he's open to the newness and the new paradigm stuff. That's why I want to stay connected with him.
Do you have sort of like a speaker of the week, kind of like some sort of lunchtime or weekly kind of like once a week bringing in a speaker?
Not yet. But what would we call that? The speaker of the week is an excellent idea. Yeah, because why would we go, like, I mean, we're going to the Squirrel Network, but why wouldn't we do our own speaker of the week from the hub, right?
Yeah, like it's almost like have a speaker of the week, and then people want to network and discuss things afterwards, kind of like in tea and crumpets kind of afterwards, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah. And have it, well, Node wants to come. He's the naturopathic doctor. He wants to start in July. He'd like to come once a month. And this, like you just said, but then there was that Christy going, oh, you don't know if he's the right person. You don't know. We got to go through this process. And I'm going, oh my God, he's the right guy. He thinks outside the box. I wanted to link him. He wants to meet you. He's very interested in this. And when he saw the mastermind map, like the big map, you should have seen him. He went, whoa, is that ever powerful?
Huh.
Like he gets it.
It's funny how the whole thing about people in teams, it's it's an art, right? Isn't it, to sort of work as a team and learn when to let go and when to just support. If somebody wants to do something, I think you should just support it. And
support it instead of putting a halt. That's how Kaylee felt. Every time Kaylee suggested something, she got shut down.
Yeah.
And she almost left us. And we had her as our summer student. And that was the last thing I wanted, was Kaylee leaving, because she gets what we need to do.
Yeah.
And because of one person, that's not healthy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I got to take responsibility in terms of the dynamics of thinking that just because you've got a map that has 4 parts and you've got, okay, all you got to do is fill these 4 parts.
I know.
It doesn't quite take into account the context of how the people come into that part.
Yeah.
And just because you have 4 people doesn't necessarily mean, like, it, a couple times I've done this with people, and it's in 2 situations I sort of gave leadership to somebody.
Yeah.
And then I took it away. Like about a little week or 2, I just said, okay, you're the president, and now, okay, you're not the president anymore.
Yeah.
And it was funny because it was like there was a lot of things learned from it, and it's just something you just can't kind of give someone something like that and then take it away so quickly, when I could, because to me it didn't really exist. There was like a president of nothing, and if the person
really exist,
if the person doesn't, if the person isn't doing anything to make something exist, then it's kind of like you have to create. If you're the president, you want to be president, you have to make everything happen in a sense, or else I have to do it all, right? And so what I learned in both situations was the person was very attached to the rank of president. And so when it was taken away, it was massive for them to lose it. And to me it was nothing, because nothing existed.
Right. The president of what?
But the role, but it was just the idea of being the president, which is very, we all want to feel as if like we're reached a point, we're the leader, we get to say I'm in charge or whatever. And to me, like, real leaders know that it's not about a term, it's about all the work that has to be done.
It's all the work that needs to be done, and the people we need to bring in to share and elevate it. So so we'll have to see what we're going to do there. We might have to go through, like, so Sylvia and I are going to have a meeting, because we built a lot here before anybody started. So I think we have to have a meeting. So it's going to be a little bit like you just said, all of a sudden these 2 come in from out of the blue as founders. And it goes, oh. And now how do we take it to a point and maybe set up this customers, allies, tribes? Sylvia and I are the founders, but people can come in as an ally or a tribe and this is what the capacity is for what you're coming in as.
Yeah.
That might be what we have to do. But so whenever Sylvia and I will talk, and we'll get in touch with you to see when you and I and her could have a conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good. Because I mean, that doesn't matter. I can be at home, she can be at home, and you can be there. And we can just do a 3-way call on
Okay.
Zoom.
You said you
Okay,
wanted to
Elijah, before we hang up, because I got to go home, I'm on a call at 5 o'clock. My son is in an addiction center in Manitoba. We
Okay.
did an intervention with my son.
Right, right.
And so when I got a hold of James Archer, I said to him, my son is in Aurora. He goes, "You're kidding, Laurie. Aurora's been talking to me. They want to do work with me in Saskatchewan here." So already there's something happening. Gimli, Manitoba, 5 hours away. The guy that owns it was from Winnipeg, but he's in the US now. And they have one down in somewhere in the US, St. Louis, and one in Manitoba in Gimli on Lake Winnipeg. So they're already connecting with James Archer to do work with him. So there's something bigger here, Elijah, than we can imagine.
Well,
And you meet my son, Tyson, you've never met him. He's pretty amazing. And he happened to be here for the Hub Factor before he went to rehab.
right.
And he was brilliant. He just doesn't fit in this system.
Right. So it could be a way for him to create a job.
Exactly. And that's all he needs to do with the gifts that he has without having to do the freaking drugs.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if you want to set up some sort of program with him in terms of,
Would you?
yeah, I mean, I'm running a bit. I mean, I can still handle a few more people in terms, but I just to let you know, there's a Gino. Did you listen to Gino's podcast?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
So he's really jumped. He's creating a team to get the cards printed in China, and I have a meeting with 3 people on Friday that are all willing to work to get this going, kind of like from that point of view, to get the cards at a
right, to get the physical stuff.
Yeah, because
you
had said, because it's always been a block for me, right? Because I still don't have the manual, and just you had made an order for 20 card sets. Is that still kind of what you want?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I am looking at a local printer to get that done, so I am working on that.
Okay, yeah.
I still don't have a price back from him, but
okay, well, you let me know.
But that's still something you want to do, right?
Yeah. And then also the convo, blah, blah, blah. The convo, blah, blah, blah. Convo killer cards.
Yeah.
So with Rhonda in BC, are we just going to send these to, will you just send me an email with them on it? And then I can just send it like that? Because remember, I was trying to get fancy saying, let's wrap it up when you click on it.
Right.
I don't need to worry about that right now.
Okay.
But we need to, can you and I, our next call, can we just 100% do a convo killer lesson?
Okay.
On how I can present it to them to say, oh, congratulations, you've received a deck of conversation killer cards. Okay. Da, 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 da. And then take me just through a little bit that if I go with these cards and I walk into an organization, what could be almost a selling pitch or a whatever, I'll be able to figure that out once with you.
Okay.
But just kind of how can we engage? Because this is a beautiful little package for organizations to buy that won't be so much money, and it will have education with it.
For sure.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, because I have to get those to Rhonda. I think the event is June 20th. So I wouldn't mind getting it to her, in the next week or two.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. And Sylvia will touch in then to see what works for us 3 to come on.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Elijah. See you later. Have a great day.
Thanks, Laurie.
Okay. Bye.